Hello my wonderful friends, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Elena. I love all things makeup and beauty. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you my top 10 favorite colorful eyeshadow palettes in my collection. So if you like that kind of content, then definitely keep on watching. We have the Someone 2 palette from Odin's Eye, and I really love this palette. Now, my palette is a little bit on the older side, so it doesn't perform as it did before, but it still really performs very, very well. And as you see, very, very colorful. We have the blues, we have the purples, we have some oranges, we have some yellows. We even have some darker tones in here, so you can go ahead and darken up your outer corner if you would like to. I love this palette. I think Odin's Eye, just their brand in general, is very, very nice. I've had no problems with their formula. I've had no problems with really anything with the palette. Now, I know it's a hit or miss with some people. I know some people don't like their shimmers, but I don't really mind their shimmers. Now, in some palettes, I've had a dud shade, but overall, the palettes I have, I've really enjoyed. And they do have a Someone 2, the Moon Wish palette that kind of is after this palette. This palette was about 4 years old, around there. And the Moon Wish came out last year, which is not a colorful palette. It's more of a purple blue type of palette, which it was very beautiful. I did not purchase it. I just, liked it from afar. But this is one of my favorites. So yes. Next, we have the little Ghost palette from Odin's Eye also, and this was in collaboration with Angelica Nyquist, and this is what it looks like. A super beautiful palette. We have mostly every color in this palette. Now, this palette is more on the lighter side. We do have some darker tones, but overall, it is mostly light, but it is very, very beautiful. Now, some people, when they think of colorful palettes, they think of rainbow palettes, but that's not really what I think of. I just think of colorful, something that isn't neutral. And this palette was inspired by, the candy that you get in your trick-or-treat bags. It definitely represents that. And out of the other one, I will show you the other one. This came with 2 palettes for the collection. The other one I do like a little bit better just because it has more darker tones. But as I said, this is a really nice palette. It is still available as well as the other palette that I showed you before this one. I just really love this palette. As I said, colorful doesn't mean rainbow. It just means a colorful palette. And the other palette that was in that collection is the Trick or Treat palette. And out of the 2, this one is my favorite. As I said, it has a little bit of more darker tones. It is a grungy palette, but it definitely is still colorful. We have oranges, we have greens, we have reds, we have burgundies, we have a little bit of a mustard yellow. We have basically everything in here. And the formula of this is really, really good. As I said, I really love Odin's Eye. I know some people don't like it, but I really like the shimmers. Now, this one is a little bit more of a gritty shimmer, so you will have to spray your brush if you go ahead and use that shade. But overall, most of the shades are very easy to work with. I feel like the mattes in Odin's Eye are phenomenal. The shimmers, as I said, really good. Now, yes, you might have to spray your brush with some shimmers, but overall, I just love Odin's Eye. And this is the Trick or Treat palette. Next, from Sigma, we have the Alice in Wonderland palette. And I have talked about this palette quite a bit on my channel. It was my favorite palette that I tried in 2022. And as you see, very, very colorful. This is probably one of the most colorful palettes that Sigma has ever done. Now, they did come out with a Little Mermaid collection last year, which is colorful, but it's more on the pastel side. And this is more of a jeweled tone palette. But as I said, very colorful. Blues, pinks, yellows, greens. We have this beautiful silver shimmer right here. It is absolutely stunning on the eyes. Now, this is still available. If you want to try Sigma, but you want to try an actual colorful palette from them, I would highly recommend this palette. This was the first palette that I ever used from a brand Sigma, and it blew me away, and that's what got me into the love for Sigma. I don't have many products from them, but I do have quite a bit of the brushes. They're brushes, top-notch brushes. But I really love this palette. As I said, if you want to try a colorful palette from Sigma, I would highly recommend this palette. Next, we have the Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos, and this was the first collab that Angelica Nikovas ever did. Now, unfortunately, you can't get your hands on this anymore, but you can always find it on Mercari, Poshmark, Depop, eBay, whatever. And this is what the palette looks like. I love this palette so much. Now, I was not into makeup when this palette released, so unfortunately I didn't get my hands on it the first time around, but my best friend, she had this palette and she was not using it, so she gifted it to me, and I'm very grateful for that. But I love this palette. I love a good jewel tone palette. Like, if I were to do a collab with any brand and I were to do an eyeshadow palette, it'd be a jewel tone color story. And this is what it is. We even have some lighter shades, so this isn't all dark. This may seem a little dark to you, but the mattes, there are some lighter mattes. And the shimmer shades in here are absolutely stunning. They are, some of them are duochromes, some of them are multi-chromes, and the shimmers are really nice quality. Now, this is the only palette that I do have from Kaleidos. Kaleidos has steered into more of the neutral path, so I have not purchased from them. I'm hoping they come back with color, but we're not so sure. But overall, this palette, I'm just so glad I got my hands on it. Next palette is the Keys Beachy and Peachy palette, and this is from Nomad Cosmetics. And this is what is actually on my eyes today. I'm really loving this look. Also, as I mentioned before, if you want to see any tutorials with any of the eye looks I have done in the past, let me know. I am totally up to do a tutorial. But this is what the palette looks like. Super, super colorful. Let me just say that. Nomad is one of my favorite indie brands. They have the best formula out there, and I know a lot of people love Nomad so much. Now, the color story is very beautiful. Everybody loved the color story. But the thing with this was it was very chaotic, and the black background makes it a little hard to make looks with it. I know some people are beginners, so they didn't really know how to use this palette. I am more of, not an expert, more of an intermediate person when it comes to makeup. So when I looked at this palette, I could already like see the looks I was gonna make. But this palette, very, very nice. Now, I was gifted this from Nomad, not NPR. It was when they did the guessing game that they do before they reveal their palettes. I won that, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for Nomad in general. They've just been such a nice brand to me. And I really love this. Now, this is more of a pastel color also, but we do have some darker tones, not many darker tones. And also, I don't really use reds. Reds don't look good on me, so I have not used any of these reds right here. I don't think I will. Maybe I will. I don't know for sure. But overall, the color story, very, very beautiful. The quality of this, super amazing. I've never had a Nomad palette that I did not like, and I have quite a bit from them. But yes. Next, we have another Nomad palette, and this is the Feta de Provence palette, and this is not available anymore. And this is what the palette looks like. Yes, it's a very springy pastel palette, but I will tell you though, these really do darken up the outer corner, and the shimmers are really nice. Now, this is a little bit on the older side, so the formula does not perform as it did before, but it's still not bad. I used it about 2 weeks ago, and I will tell you though, the shimmers, you definitely have to spray your brush, because when I use the shimmer, like the whole thing basically just fell on my face. So I was not, ready for that, but it's all right. But I really love this palette. Now, I'm hoping Nomad, I know Nomad comes out with like pastel palettes, but I'm hoping they come out with kind of like a pastel palette like this, but revamp it, make it different but not different. But I really love Nomad, and this is definitely one of my favorite colorful palettes. Next palette is the Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay, and unfortunately this palette is also not available, but you can always find it on Mercari, Poshmark, Depop, etc. And this is what she looks like. Very, very beautiful palette. Now, I was not into makeup at the time when this palette came out either, but my friend gifted to me this, and I was very, very grateful for that. And this is the first Beauty Bay palette that I ever tried, and I actually really love the formula of this. Now, I know some people don't like Beauty Bay. Like I said, this is the only palette I've tried, so I can't really say anything really about the brand quite yet. But some people like it, some people don't. It just really depends on. And as I'm filming this, they did reveal the new Botanical Garden, the Botanical palette. Now, it's not a new name, it's just a extension of the other Botanical Garden palette that they had. But I love this one. It is a rainbow palette. If I were to be honest, I know, as I said, colorful doesn't mean rainbow, but if we were going to be honest here, this is a rainbow palette. I think this is the only rainbow palette I have, actually, though, in my collection. Yeah, because I'm showing you all my colorful palettes, and as of right now, this is the only one that's rainbow. But I really do enjoy the formula of this. You can always also shop your stash if you can't find anything online that somebody's selling. Always shop your stash. That's what I do quite a bit. And I do mix palettes quite a bit too. I don't use just one palette. Now, today's look I did, but majority of the time I use multiple palettes. Unless I'm reviewing a specific palette for you, then I use that palette. But otherwise, this is just one of my favorite colorful palettes. Next we have It's a Mood from ColourPop. And if you know, you know. I've been wanting this palette for so long, and I was so grateful to get my hands on this. I was gifted from my best friend. She gifted me quite a bit of palettes, and I cannot tell you how grateful I am for that. So yeah, but I've been wanting this palette for so long, and it did not disappoint. Now, it is a jeweled tone color story, and as I said before, if I were to do a collab with the brand and make an eyeshadow palette, this would be the color story for sure. Now, I know some people don't like the ColourPop pressed glitters. There are 3 pressed glitters in here, and I know some people don't like them, but I don't really mind them. I don't mind a pressed glitter. I am one of the few that like pressed glitters, but you do have to be careful. There are some pressed glitters out there that aren't the best. Now, pressed glitters aren't considered eye safe just because they have to put it in there just for regulations and rules and whatever. But if you use a glitter primer, I think you're all set to go. I love this palette so much, and as I said, I'm so grateful for this palette. It just performs really well, really well, and you can still get your hands on this. I would highly recommend a Mega palette from ColourPop if you want to start out with something, because I feel like their Mega palettes are the best formula that they come out with. I know there's lots of shades in the palette, but as I said, there's many different shades that you can try. Now, I know some of them are a little bit of repeats, like the Stone Cold Fox, Bare Necessities. But for reals, if you want to try a very colorful palette from ColourPop and you're not so sure which one to get, I'd highly recommend this one. And the last one is from Norvina. It's the ABH Norvina line. This is the Volume 3 palette. And this is what it looks like. If I can get it open. Yeah, this palette is colorful. Let's just say that. It is a little chaotic, I will tell you that, but the performance of this was really good. So I've had ABH palettes in the past, like just the original ABH palettes, not any of the Norvina line, and they were okay. I haven't had any of the new ones, like since the velvet packaging. But I will tell you though, this is very beautiful, and the quality is actually really good. I thought the quality of this is actually better than the ABH palettes that I've had in the past. I feel like the Norvina line is a lot better than the ABH line. Well, when it comes to eyeshadows, I guess. I really love this palette, but I will tell you though, I wish they came out with more of the Norvina stuff. They haven't came out with a Norvina line in quite a while. And I hope they do. I really want them to put out a green palette in this format. I would definitely get my hands on that. But if you really want to try a colorful palette, a bigger palette, now yes, these are a little on the expensive side. And they do have many other colors, like a blue one, a purple one, a pink one. And I know this one's very chaotic, so you might not want to start out with this one. But the formula is very workable. I feel like the formula is what you should start out with when it comes to ABH. I really love this palette. As I said, I wish they can come out with a green one. We'll see what they do in the future. But this is one of my favorite colorful palettes. So that is it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I will be back with a lot more makeup and beauty content. Till then, you guys stay beautiful, stay healthy, and stay safe. Bye!